Hey guys, so deep calls to deep. So where do I share? Where do I begin? It's so deep. There's people out there that they've been abused. They've been abused physically, maybe emotionally, verbally, and they and it could have been in their younger years, teenage years, or as a child, even an adult. And then you resent that abuse. And then you find yourself maybe inside of you fighting back, doing the same thing to somebody else verbally, God forbid, physically, mentally, emotionally, because of the resentment of the abuser that abused you and the hatred. It causes what was inside the abuser, I call it gets inside of you and it grows. And your emotions actually, it feeds on your emotions, okay? Evil feeds on your emotions, especially resentment and hatred. That's why it was so important about Jesus saying to love your neighbor, love, love, love. Try not to resent, hate, because when you resent and hate, and I get it, if you're abused, why can't that person resent or hate their abuser? They abused them terribly. But the problem is, it lives on the resentment. So when you hate the abuse that's happening to you, it gets inside of you. All right. And then you have hatred thoughts, you have terrible resentment, anger. And then some people actually become the abuser themselves because it is inside of them. You give it life. When you hate or resent something, anything, okay? And a lookalike situation comes along also, it will stir up what you went through. So the bottom line with this is, and you can apply this to a lot of things, is when you hate or resent when I say it, I'm talking about a entity, an entity that lives inside of you, that lives inside of all of us if we're hating and resenting. It grows in us by our emotions of resenting and hating. It thrives on hate. It thrives on resentment. It speaks to you then. And then you hate, you resent, you become just like your abuser or whoever did whatever to you. You become like your abuser. It's kind of like a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And let's say the boyfriend was abusive or the girlfriend was abusive. And the other party resented and hated that. So then they break up maybe from them, but then they feel themselves drawn back to that very person again, not understanding why, but it's like a cycle. They're drawn back because of the emotions and because of the resentment always draws you back. Resentment and hatred always draws you back, or you become what you hate. There's an old saying out there, you become what you eat, well, you also become what you hate. Now, I know I'm talking deep, but I know what I'm saying to you. So you say, what do you do then? Okay, so when you feel that resentment rising in you, and it will, or that anger rising in you, be objective to it. Don't let that, give me an analogy. There's a stream and the stream is flowing by. And that's your emotions. Okay, so you feel the anger and the resentment coming in you and you feel it rising up in you and you just go with the flow and you let it happen. All right? Or you sit on the bank of the stream and you watch it. Be objected to it, okay? Because when that identity, sees you looking at it, because darkness doesn't like to be brought into the light, then it goes away. It hates it. It hates it. The more you be objected to your emotions, hatred and resentment, the more you watch them when they start coming up, the more it sees you watching it, and it will be gone. It's another way of deliverance. But I'm sharing these things to you. They're deep, and I'll share many more things. But these are real things. You always hear somebody maybe killed somebody, and then you hear the family say, he was a good boy. I can't believe he did that. She was a good girl. She would never hurt anybody. Well, he or she did. because that they were probably abused in their lives. Now, I'm not excusing the murderer, but I'm saying somewhere in their childhood or teenagehood or adulthood, they themselves were abused. And they hated that, and they hated that person, and they resented it. So it got inside of them, and it's it that murders people, not actually that person, but it's what is now inside of them that speaks to them to go murder somebody. It's an identity, a demon, if you will. That was very deep. And like I said, off and on, I'm going to be sharing some other things that are deep. And keep your eyes on the Lord and pray. Don't run away from your emotions. Don't suppress them, because that's going the opposite way. You still carry it. So don't suppress them. Be objected to them. See them. Acknowledge them. But don't go along with it. Just acknowledge it. Be objective. And give it to the Lord. Don't hide it. Give it to the Lord. And the Holy Spirit will work with you there. All right, guys, that was really deep, but I wanted to share that. And God bless. I'll catch you later.